The Master Kuthumi was embodied as Balthazar, one of the three magi, or the three kings, or wise men, as they have been called. And he was, to all accounts that I have read, to be the king of Ethiopia. So he had a dark skin. He was, in effect, black from Africa. And he brought frankincense to the Holy Family. And being a wise man and an initiate and a member of the Brotherhood, he was aware of the mission of the Christ child, the import of it, and the evidence of it, and the stars and the astrology of that time was clear to him. He participated in the alchemy of providing these sacred gifts, both symbolically and also tangibly, that helped the Holy Family. And it helped them also on their trip to Egypt. In the movie Ben-Hur, Balthazar is depicted as an old wise man in white skin with a long beard, and he sought to find Jesus, when he was 29, 30, 33 years old, and finally found him and was at the crucifixion. Yet I, seeing the record and believing in what I believe to be true in terms of from the resources or the source material that I've seen, was king of Ethiopia. Some say he was the king of Macedonia, but Macedonia was much further north, and of course, we know he came from the east and the south. So why is he talking about this? Because we are going to show you now many images of Mother Mary that David Kyle has painted on his computer and brought to us that are in the new book, Mother Mary's Messages, which we received 3 boxes, and we're going to get more on Tuesday, a full pallet of books, 51 boxes of books, hopefully on Tuesday if all goes well. And we'd like you to see the prints that we now have, both in the 5x7 and in the 8x10. So we're going to get David on, and David, maybe while I'm showing them what we have, you can talk about anything you'd like to say about these images and the process you went through in creating them, and just tell us little stories or whatever you'd like to share. Here's the first one, Mary, Rose of Sharon, Most Lovely. This is an 8x10, and it's on a board, a black styling mat board. Mary, Rose of Sharon, Most Lovely.
No, these, I did want to say that I feel that both these pictures were very, I think I was helped when I was overshadowed, so to speak. And I actually wanted to pay tribute also to the people that helped. And I was going to know, again, it would be Nancy and also Claire for helping to put together the books, the pictures. I think it was all, and for you also, David, for the images to start bringing them down and to tune in to some of the apparitions of Mary. I also wanted to say that I feel that this book in general is going to be very powerful. I have started to read it, and I really feel that I was overshadowed by Mary. And I certainly encourage everyone to purchase the book and to give it to those who I think whose hearts will be open in this image and likeness of Mary, which I think comes through the images, I hope, I pray, and through the pages of the words, which she, I think, has living fire breathed through onto these pages.
Wonderful, David. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was a pleasure about every week or so to get a Skype call from David saying, I have another one to show you. And I'd say 90% of the time there was either almost nothing to change or to improve at all. And anything that there was just very, very minor typically. David did a phenomenal job. So here's the second one I started to show, Mary, Rose of Healing Grace. This is a beautiful one. I'm going to be talking briefly about that on Sunday during our Meru University class. This is Mary, Mother of the World, which is on the cover of the book.
Right, that does the cover.
Beautiful. And say anything you'd like. Just interrupt me if you'd like to talk about any of these. This is Mary, Messenger of Medjugorje.
Now, there's a photograph that's very similar to this
Right.
that I've always fallen in love with, and I wanted to make it a little more real. And again, the importance of not only the rosary itself that she carries, but the images of her, these roses you can see there's a photograph that's very similar to this. And I just was enthralled, pulled into this and fell in love with it and wanted to bring it again into a little bit clearer reality for everyone.
And by God's grace, I wrote a song about that. Our Lady of Medjugorje on my first CD. Mary, Virgin of Guadalupe. David did talk about this a little bit when we first introduced the book, and this one is awesome. I just love it. You know, Mariella looks a little bit like...
Yeah, that was the inspiration for that picture. She should know. And maybe she'll see herself in it.
Even though this one doesn't show the title, they made a mistake at the printers. It's Mary, Directress of Fatima's Healing Retreat. I believe it's titled, right? Mary, Directress of Fatima's Healing Retreat, with the 3 children who saw her.
Right.
So those are the 8x10s that we have. And then we have 14 of the 15 images that are in the book has 5x7. So you've seen that one already, this one. Here is Mary, Maiden of Miracle Light, with a young man kneeling in prayer, probably in front of a church votive candle stand. And there's Mary appearing above him. Here's the Fatima one again. This is from Lourdes, I believe. Mary,
Yeah.
Holy Lady of Lourdes, or as the Spanish say, Lourdes. They say Lourdes. David did a lot of reading and research as he was painting these. Mary, Handmaiden of the Lord. This is the appearance of Gabriel to Mary, announcing the imminent birth of Jesus through her womb. You've seen that one. This is Mary, Twin Flame of St. Raphael the Archangel. This is awesome. I just really love this one. These are, my family and our family, your family. Mary, spouse of St. Joseph, who we know as St. Germain. There's another favorite, Mary, Queen of the Angels, a la the artist Bouguereau, a French artist, with all these angels around her, playing instruments, etc. Stars around her head. Again, the one that's on the cover, Mary, Mother of the World. This is beautiful, Mary, Mother of Jesus the Christ. And she looks almost a little Eastern there, with Jesus with a little darker skin than the Catholics usually portray him with. So I love that, because I'm sure Jesus had a little darker skin than what many of us in the United States have. Mary,
And she has wings in this one.
yeah, here's the only one with wings. Mary, most pure and holy. So here she's in the guise of being an archaea, a feminine archangel, with a chalice and her hand raised for blessing. And then the Medjugorje one again. So these are 14 of the 15. The only one that we don't have, or we have it, but not in this group, is the one that was in the other book, Mary with the pentagram behind her, I believe.
Right, and that one's already for sale in the store.
Right, we had that from the previous book. So any other words, David?
No, just that I think, again, gratitude for being a part of this. And again, I feel it's a very, very powerful book, and that I'm sure that it will shine Mother Mary's flame throughout the earth as it goes forth. And I am grateful to be a part of it.
Thank you so much. And Boyd can show you how to get to the page or pages on our website and our store where you can secure these. Jeanette worked really hard to get all of these pages done, and we just got the prints in today. That's why I'm bringing it up tonight. I'm so excited about this. So Boyd, go ahead.
On the front page of our Heart Center store webpage.
Look on the right.
Mother Mary's images. There they are. So the price
Sorry to
is
interrupt.
$7 for the 5x7s and $15 for the 8x10s. And remember, the $15 ones, the 8x10s are on styrene foam board. Well, actually, I don't know if they're foam, but they're a very solid board, and you can put a frame right around it with no backing because it has the backing already. And I had an art gallery, and I can tell you this is a great price because just the board itself normally would cost about that, even without the image. Prices have really gone up. So thank you so much. Now, part of the reason Kuthumi is also here, besides talking about compassion, is that he had a very direct relationship with Mary energetically for the rest of that lifetime. And he was obviously older than Mary when Jesus was born, because Mary was only 14 or 15 years old when Jesus was born. And the wise man was probably in his 40s, I'm getting, late 30s to early 40s. And for many in that time period, that was middle to old age. But he lived another 30 plus years, so he was in his 70s or 80s when he passed. And from what I've heard and read, Mother Mary was quite old when she passed. So they kept a collaborative communication telepathically and also through the Brotherhood, which existed, even though the Essene communities were established before Jesus was born, and some of them were, I'll say, disestablished soon thereafter, after Jesus came. Not all of them maintained a presence in the physical world because of the Romans coming and doing what they did in the Middle East and upending the new Christian dispensation and crucifying many and killing many Jews who had become Christians. So this relationship between Balthasar and Mary was very powerful, and it was important because, as we know now, Kuthumi, who was Balthasar, is a world teacher with Jesus. So the master, I'll call him the master Balthasar, the Magi, the Magus, or the wise man, the king, was instrumental in spiritually supporting Jesus, representing the yellow plume of the threefold flame, Moria as Melchior the blue, and Dwalkul as Casper the pink. And you can see even as Kuthumi represented the yellow ray at that time within the trinity of the Magi, he was already in the mode of being a teacher, a great teacher, and a great person who represented that wisdom flame that then resulted in him eventually becoming so close to Jesus in his lifetime as St. Francis of Assisi and later that he was anointed to be a world teacher, I believe in 1954, maybe 56. So when Lord Maitreya, who was the world teacher, became the kind of the assistant Lord of the world, the planetary Buddha is what he's called now, he passed the torch to Jesus and Kuthumi, and then later the Master Omram became part of a trio. So it's an interesting dynamic, one that we can consider. And also Jesus, in his later years, traveled to India. And where is Kuthumi's retreat? Anybody? Kashmir, right? So where is Kashmir? Northern India, right. So there's another connection, and Jesus went to Kashmir, even in his later years, and some even say that he passed on at 81 in that region, in Kashmir. So it's interesting. So the relationship between all of these divine characters is really an important one when you consider the mission, the greater mission of the birth of the man-child who became the living Christ, who then was the Messiah for that Piscean dispensation. And we honor beloved Master Kuthumi in teaching us compassion, loving kindness, and helping us to clear all kinds of anomalies. All these things that I mentioned earlier. What does he clear? I'll read them again. We call for the clearing by compassion of criticism, condemnation, confusion, calumny, conflict, contempt, contagion, confusion, commotion, conceit, chaos, and all curses. We accept it done in the name of the Master Kuthumi, KH. Amen.